Welcome everyone, especially to Marnie, who I'll introduce in a moment, but particularly to all the wonderful business people that have featured in my book tonight. So thank you very much. I'd like to say that writing a book makes you a lot of money, but there was actually 3 other reasons that I wrote it for. And the first and foremost is I really wanted to value the contribution that business people make to our communities. Every single person in business is really making a difference. Collectively, small business is the backbone of our national economy, and they really are the unsung heroes. They don't like patting themselves on the back, so I guess I decided to do it for them. Secondly, I want to share the learnings and inspire others. I've learnt so much just chatting to people along the way, and they're amazing. We never stop learning, especially in this very rapidly changing environment. You'd almost think that I'd written it for a pandemic, wouldn't you? Yeah. And business is not rocket science, but it does require vision, determination, passion, and a whole heap of other attributes that I outlined in the book. And last but not least, I really want to remind everyone that rural is important. When I first started doing the circuit conference, and I know Marnie and I have crossed paths a few times, the regions are talked about a lot, but not the rural towns and communities. It really did seem like I was a bit of a lone voice, but I'm so glad that that has changed. Suddenly it's a hot topic. And, people are realising that rural communities are essential service and social hubs for our primary industries, and we all eat and wear fibre. And who wouldn't want to live in a rural town? The best way to do it is to create your own business. That's a really good segue to introducing Marnie Baker, Managing Director of the Bendigo and Adelaide Bank. Some of you might be wondering why Marnie is launching my book. And first up, she has a bit of a rural connection, but I'll let her explain that to you. But secondly, the Bendigo Community Bank model has played a major role in supporting rural towns Australia-wide, and the Collie Community Bank enabled me to write some of these stories in the book over in Western Australia. And finally, I was in the Bendigo Bank headquarters in January 2020, and I picked up the history of the community bank, and it was published by Wakefield Press. And I thought I should contact them and see if they'll publish my book. And they did. So lots of reasons why I asked Marnie to do the honours today. So without any more ado, thank you, Marnie. I'll hand over to you.
Thanks, Kerry, and thank you for inviting me to help launch a new book, I've got it here, Australian Rural Entrepreneurs. And I do really commend you, Kerry, on your perseverance in making this a virtual launch now, given how many times we tried to actually be physically in person. So I think the perseverance has paid off. I'd also like, just to embarrass you a bit, Kerry, I'd just also like to acknowledge your passion. And you're right, we do cross paths on the circuit. But, as you're a real advocate for regional and rural Australia, and I follow everything that you do, and I'm truly inspired by the work that you do, in promoting the virtues of living and working in regional and rural Australia, because I know how good it is, but also how you provide a platform to promote just, all these amazing stories that are like in your book here and the achievements of regional people. So it really is an honour to be here, and even to be here virtually, I think, as the norm. And now we're in a new norm, and that's begun. And I think there's so much opportunity for regional communities to strengthen that have emerged from this. COVID exposed an inherent weakness in Australia. The fact that 40% of our population is actually based in 2 capital cities. There's a huge opportunity, and we all know. We all know why we live regionally and rurally. It's the best place to live. And if COVID's shown us anything positive, you don't have to live where you work, you can live where you love. Australian Rural Entrepreneurs is a fantastic read and presents an excellent opportunity to learn from the experiences of people who have been, and I'll say, brave enough to become entrepreneurs. It's not easy. So, you haven't just dreamt about it and talked about it. And, I think we can understand how we can all assist the entrepreneurs that are amongst us along the way. And in addition to inspiring new businesses and encouraging existing businesses to keep innovating, these authentic and practical stories from right across rural Australia, I think, will help our wider communities to understand the importance of small business and why we should encourage and support them. So once again, thank you, Kerry, for inviting me to launch your new book, Australian Rural Entrepreneurs, here tonight with everyone, and congratulations on bringing to life so many wonderful and amazing success stories.
Thank you, Marnie. That was lovely, and there's just so much synergy between the businesses in the book and the bank, and we do thank you. It's a big honour for you to come and do this tonight. But I want you to stick around a little bit longer because I'm going to ask a few people to speak. And I'll start with Anne Jury from Bakery on Broadway.
But our business started from a very small idea, I suppose, a few drinks at the local races and buying a building in the town and gathering 4 couples that had no idea how to bake bread or run a business. So it's been not a tough journey. We've all enjoyed it, and I think we've done okay.
We've been all around the world now, so we've been into places like Iran and the UNESCO World Energy Globe Awards. We went to Fiji when Cyclone Winston hit up there. Ended up in the villages. I ended up with the past CEO of another bank, Donna Quinn. I don't know if Marnie knows Donna, but we ended up in the villages in the middle of nowhere with Donna and taking power up there. And then, yes, we've sort of been all through the Pacific, and we're currently doing some stuff for Kenya. Going to send some systems over there and run some pumps to pump water to irrigate crops for villages up there. But the whole development of the solar relief system for the past 5 years anyway has been with the Australian Defence Force and doing like frontline power generation for defence. And I met with the Chief of Army last month, and we've currently got there's a big operation out of Townsville, Operation Talisman Sabre. There's 17,000 troops from the US and UK and Japan and Australia and wherever else. But I've got my systems up there. There's seven different systems that doing all these different applications.
Pull the pin on the pet shops and just sell direct to my customers. The thing that I found was that at the time, all these dog coats were starting to be imported from overseas, and I just felt like I couldn't compete with that. But what I was really good at was custom making. So whippets, greyhounds, dachshunds, bulldogs, anything that you couldn't just walk into a pet shop, get a coat to fit off the shelf. So that's where I headed down, and I really focused hard on my whippet, my greyhound coats, because I quickly realised nobody was making waterproof whippet and greyhound coats. So they're our top seller, as well as dachshund coats. So we've been kept really busy that way, but we also started selling dog treats. So I love my my package. I'm really proud of that.
Larry.
Interesting times, Kerry. You're right. Our business is built on being everywhere and gathering material from everywhere. And when COVID hit, I thought, well, what's this going to do for us? This could be disaster, because, as all of you know, life in printed publishing world is been very tough over the last several years. But we've managed to be able to stay exactly where we were all the way through it. We're very specialised in what we do. And just as things in the world have changed, that's also thrown up opportunities, which we've been able to take advantage of because we're a small family-owned business. Information in it from all around the world, and we send it back all around the world from here. Now that I actually started this book because I could see a change coming with all the digital technology. I thought we'll take advantage of that, because I thought as the technology in printing changes, we will be able to produce this magazine here, but upload it to printers all around the world, print it on site and deliver it locally. Produce stuff from anywhere in the world and put it anywhere in the world with the new technology. You've got to be very careful how you manage it. You've got to be careful not to jump in too early on new technology. It's another one of my favourite pet subjects I've pushed for years. Don't be the first user, be the second. Let someone else sort out the details first, and then come in when it's settled down and it's reliable. But in my instance, for instance, our community are those vehicle enthusiasts all around the world. That's a community too. And the wonderful thing we've been able to experience through all of that, and why I find it so hard to retire, is that everyone in that community treats you just like your family. And the reward you can get from that, and this is the mistake that I sort of was alluding to before, that the corporate publishers make, is they only see a bottom line, whereas we see friends and neighbours and people who think like us and act like us, and they are absolutely rusted on supporters of what we do. I've had people come to us and say, look, if you put out a book with nothing inside it, but it had your graffiti logo on the front, I'd buy it. It's that reliability and that access to the community that you're part of yourself that makes all the difference. So if you're operating a business in any of those sort of aspects, I strongly encourage you to just push it and push it and push it, because you'll just get more and more rewards back.
Thank you. You've just epitomised beautifully what we're trying to get across in the book. And thank you to everyone for sharing your stories tonight. Thank you, Marnie, for being our special guest and saying those kind words. It's been lovely to have you in the room.
It's been wonderful to be here, and this is what it's all about. And I love Larry. You're exactly right about communities. They're communities of interest. They're the things that bind us together, which isn't necessarily always geographical. It's the things that the common interests that you have is your community. And I love small business, and I just love hearing just the amazing stuff that's done. I wish everyone, and this is why it's so great, the book, Kerry, I just wish everyone could hear these stories, and it's a shot in the arm. It's an absolute shot in the arm. So wonderful. Thank you. Thank you.